So in this session, I'd like to talk to you about how you can access data to support understanding flow, demand, and capacity. So if you just take us on to the second slide, Chloe. So the good news is if you're recording data in any of our main systems, be that, you're right there, Chloe?
Can you put it on full screen?
Yeah, it's on full screen. Let me try. Can you see that?
We can see the trust board report and some lovely control charts.
Oh, that's interesting.
But let's have a look. That was fun, but
why is that not on there? I can see it on mine.
Tom, I have the slides. Shall I just put them on?
Yeah, if that's okay.
Yeah, no problem. That's fine. Just hang on a second. Give us a moment. This is always the thing with okay. Apologies. There we go. Okay.
Great.
So,
okay. Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Just tell me when to move.
Yeah, so just wanted to say, if you need data to support understanding flow and capacity, the good news is if you're using any one of our clinical systems, Rio, System 1, Aptus or EMIS, we've been capturing your data for months and possibly many years, so it's available to you to look at. So when you're recording your referrals, your appointment dates, your appointment outcomes, DNAs, cancellations, discharge destinations, which part of the pathway over, waiting times, we've got all that data to help you. So if you move on to the next slide, please. So one of the things one of the tools we have to support you looking at flow is Power BI apps. So we've now got 7 Power BI apps. So we've got an app for community mental health, for community health services, for Bedfordshire Community Health, for CAMS, SCIPS, perinatal services, inpatient and forensics, and each one of these apps has a specific page and area dedicated to flow. And if we've got time and we've got the technical support, we'll do a little walkthrough and show you that in a sec. So in terms of getting, I think these slides will be shared at the end. So in terms of getting access to Power BI, you can go to the new intranet page and there's a link up there. And if you look at teams that support you, you can raise a request, as you can see on the screenshot, to access Power BI Analytics. And if you've got any problems, there's ELF Analytics, nhs.net, and you'll be able to get access to the Power BI apps. Now, the Power BI apps won't have every single piece of information that you might require. Understanding your flow might be quite complicated. There might be certain clinics, certain HCPs, certain areas that you need to perhaps include or exclude in your data, or you might need extra provisions to really understand where patients are in the pathway. So if you need that, if you need more things, there's an option to create your own data feed or extract. And if you just move on to the next slide. Now, considering all the information you're entering in the clinical system is available, anything that you recorded, you can potentially create an extract for. And the kind of things I want you to think about if you raise a request for an extract is how long do you want the data set to go back? What is reflective of your current capacity, flow and demand? Have you been it might be that your service has been completely redesigned in 2 years ago or even recently. It might be that the demand and capacity of 2019 isn't relevant today or post-COVID. So have a think about how long the extract you want, and how long is representative. So it might be 2 years. You need to think about what services, clinics and staff members should be included in the extract. And you also need to think about what fields you might require. So do you need to know the referral date? Do you need to know the referral acceptance date to know if that referral has been triaged into the service? Is knowing source useful to you? Does where the patient come from impact the flow? And I've got some other little items there that you can have a look at. Does the appointment type impact, whether it's a telephone, a face-to-face or a video appointment? Does that affect your demand, capacity and flow? And of course, the outcome, I suspect that's going to be a pretty important one, because if you establish that perhaps 15 or 20% of first appointments are being DNA'd or cancelled, that's going to affect your kind of planning about how to meet the current demand and discharge and destinations. Chloe, should we try and see if we can log on to Power BI? So
yeah,
that's
sure.
all right. So what we'll do now is we'll just spend a few minutes giving you a really brief run through of Power BI, if that's okay.
You want me to stop sharing, Tom?
Yeah, if that's okay. So we'll cross our fingers and we'll say a little prayer, and we'll see how Chloe gets.
Technology prayer.
Which app did you want, Tom?
It's the Community Mental Health app. We'll just show a little brief overview.
Let's try this again, shall we?
Brilliant, fantastic. Okay, so we're just going to give you a really 2 or 3 minute run through of a Power BI app. So do you mind doing the mental health one,
Yeah.
Chloe, if you like, just because that's a little bit more comprehensive. So actually, the flow page is often the landing page. So what you can do is for every service or team across the trust, and if you want to just pick out City and Hackney there, because I'd prepared an example on City and Hackney, Chloe. So for every team or across the trust, you can select one or multiple teams. If you just select the whole lot there, Chloe. And what you will get is you will get a summary of the flow in the last 6 months. So what we can see, if we just look at the entire City and Hackney, just for useful, we can see that City and Hackney gets about 135 referrals per week coming in. We can see on the discharges on the top right-hand side, we've got 109 referrals going out, being discharged. And we can see the caseload size in the middle. So instantly we know that in terms of City and Hackney, the pressure is on the gradual rise. We're getting about 20 odd referrals in as more than that we're discharging per week. So there's a gradual increase in pressure. In the bottom half of the page, you get a little bit feel about the patients in the flow. So we can see how many face-to-face contacts there are per week, 374. And we can also see by month the appointment types. So we can see the breakdown per month of the appointment types. And we can also see the DNA rate there on the bottom middle side. So you can see on average 14% of appointments.
Sorry, can you just raise the screen a little bit so we can see the bottom of it? Thank you.
Or just, yeah.
It's as far as it'll go, I'm afraid.
Yeah, sorry about that, but yeah, there you go. Perfect. Well done, Chloe. So 14% on average appointments are DNA'd. And also through these time series charts, you can also see the trend, of course. So whilst we can see referrals received and discharges have sort of stayed about the same, that average is fairly representative. We can see the DNA rate actually has grown as well. So that might be something to take into account with your planning. Is the service staying the same as normal? If we just have a quick look at the waiting times and caseload page, and then I think we'll take a pause. So you can also see inside the pathways, you know, what's the flow like. So, and again, we've got a couple of SPC charts there at the bottom, which indicate the average weeks to first appointment and the average weeks to treatment. So again, for those referrals coming in, you can get an idea of how long it's taking for them to enter the cycle, enter the assessment and treatment cycle. And you've also got some histograms there showing the caseload and the status they're in. And we'll just look at 2 more